Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good people. It's your boy Brada. Happy Monday, happy freaking Monday. Says Corner Buffet. It's NK1 Show with your boy Brada, all the way from Durban. Hello, from Bandla Chulu Masavens. I should call him since that's who Ngablelane. But no brand that actually Zamaka Tagamanga to Samaka Chiganga. Says Corner Buffet. It's Monday, it's Kati, 5 minutes past 9. Is education still the key to success? Ziyakhala-ke namhlanje bafethu. So ke sizwe ngampela. I can see Mbali ukhona. Okay, Mbali. Let me add you, Mbali. Okay. First guest is here. Adding Mbali. Bafethu ziyakhala ngampela. Make sure when you tune in, you share the live, you mention people because it's going to go down. It's going to go down. Ow. Abasengelile. Brian. Okay. Hello, Mbali still?
Hi, Ninjani.
Siyapila, how are you doing?
Yapila Nami, thank you for inviting me to be here tonight. I feel very honored. I'm Funungas.
Welcome, you're more than welcome. Esbar, ngiyongwenza lutho manje Sbar, ngiphethe lo Sbar, ngiyongwenza lutho Sbar.
Yeah, Sbar. Nami la kumina uphethe ukhanda khulu. Akuna
Sbar, don't talk to me, talk to my lawyer Sbar.
Hey. Ngiyakubingelela sisiwami, ngiyakubingelela.
Sabona njani?
Yeah, ngenza kahle nibingelelana ukuze masenilwa. Okay, let me see. Ngibheke uZuziwe la ukuthi uphi. Zuziwe, where are you? Okay, mase ziyaqala bafethu. Thank you for the people who are tuning in. Please guys, do the honest, share the live, mention people. Namhlanje is going to go down. It's going to go down kakhulu. Ngiphethe umbalisto, ngiphethe uBrian Nhlanhla. Ngizobe nginitshela mase ngiba introduce ukuthi bayizini labantu. So ngisalinde uZuziwe la. Zuziwe. Ukuphi Zuziwe simngawe manje Zuziwe simngawe yabo silabantu balindile and umbali umile uthe
Musungenza umuntu omubi please.
Nawu Sibare la usha uzoom uthi ngifuna ngibone kahle.
ingafike ngeke ngiyibeke kude camera because ngifuna uyibeke eduze so that makwenzeka angithi kuzokwenza ngiyisondeza abantu bazobusema mangathi abantu kunekhanda elingaka so manje ngiyibeke eduze nje kusheshe kucace kusayini ukuthi likhona.
Hlehlisa ikamera wena ukuze sikubona kahle uye kulibusa ukuthi sikubuye la hlehlisa ikamera sikubone kahle tazonke. Uzuziwe bafethu angazi ukuthi kwenzakalani. Asisimbheke mina ngilindile. Okay. Zuziwe 5 minutes past 9. 5 minutes past 9. Hello reality. How are you doing reality? I see no sign of Zuziwe. Zuziwe, you can't do that. You can't do that. Come here. Alright, got Mbali stock boy ngathi nje.
No, you're right, but I'm just tired, but I'm okay.
Okay, Zuziwe is here. I wanna fana umuntu engimedala isikhokho ke fana umuntu engimedala ngizozwa ama sekufikele ngizoshintsha atmosphere. Ngizozwa sekufikele lapha. Ngizoshintsha atmosphere kubonakala ukuthi hayi cha usengenile kumakhoma umzilekazi kwamashobayo. Umculo.
Akazela kangaka yena thina sasichaza.
Ngulomuntu.
Ayibandla.
Ngiyila.
Awuphewa mvelase mfowethu awu. All right. We are adding lokhu uzuziwe manje. In a minute uzobe sekhona labafethu and then mase siyaqala. Nxewu, I'm blessed. Bengithi angibingelele uMakheswa ngokukhethele ugogo wami owakaKheswa. Hayi lapho
Buka sengithole ihlobo.
yabona ukuthi siyanihlanganisa.
Hlangana umthathu wazana.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Connection failed. Yo, angazi noma uZuziwe ushawa network ithi connection failed. Can you please request again Zuziwe? I think so besiqala guys ukuze singamoshi isikhathi because nabantu bakhona balindile, so sizobe siqala while I'm trying to add uZuziwe. Zuziwe, can you please request again because it's a connection fail. I don't know whether it's a network on your side. But okay, let's just bafethu siphinde sibingelele bafethu kubo bonke abangenayo manje. It's your boy Brada Nxewu bafethu, the host of the show NK1 Show, the #1 show on live ku Facebook. Ngiphethe my panelist Mbali Kheswa ugogo ka reality Grace ngiphethe lapha umngani wami ke lo bafethu, a very good old friend of mine, sibizana ngoSibari. Asikhanyiselene, hayi ukuthi mhlawumbe ngikhanyiselene noma hayi sibizana ngoSibari nje, uyazi ke. So bafethu, I'm just okay, uthi network igudla nami. Okay, uZuziwe bafethu ushawa network, but sizolobe sizama. I'm just gonna give them a chance ukuthi introduce bafethu before we just start. Maybe ngizoqala ngayo Mbali. Can you please introduce yourself ukuthi wena ubani, uqhamukaphi and udume ngani?
Okay, thank you again for the opportunity. Ngicela to say a disclaimer. Yabo le position engihleli ngayo nami ngoba ngizama network, yabo. Bengathi ngishift la kuzoba inkinga. But igama lami Mbali Kheswa. I am of course saved. I'm a child of God. Ngiyamthanda uNkulunkulu kakhulu. I am a candidate attorney. I think that's who I am. Yeah. Ukuthi ngidume ngani, I'm not sure. Like Facebook ngidume ukushare ama memes, I think. But but yeah, man, ngintombazane nje ethandela uNkulunkulu akhosimanga.
Sibonge Nkosi yami uMbali yenkosi. Sibari umntwana kaNkulunkulu, Sibari susele wedwa, Sibari uphenduka nini?
Okay, I think she's gonna get the sense of who I am once namwe introduce, then uzophenduleka kulo mbuzo ongibuza wona.
Sasi-introduce Sibari.
Sanibonani, ngiyabingelela wonke umuntu obukelayo. Igama nguNhlanhla ngowakaPhewa Sibongo. Ngokuzalwa ngwaseNdwedwe. Ngokuhlala ke ngile entabeni, kodwa ngile entabeni. Kodwa ke nje mina ke ngiyindoda nje nenkani, Sibari uyangazi, angizwani ngumuntu nje ongazwani nokutshelwa into and then just take it just like that. You have to come correct when you come to me. That's it.
Hey madoda. Siphethe Julius Malema nje.
Kuzoba nzima namhlanje.
Bafethu, namhlanje I brought you guys together. Ngifuna sixoxe ngalolu daba. I just wanted to discuss about this issue ukuthi sikhule sazi ukuthi from isikhathi sokuzalwa kwabazali bethu sikhule sazi ukuthi umuntu akayilutho ngaphandle kwemfundo. Sikhule ngaphezu kwesiqubulo esithi education is the key to success. So now the question is education still the key to success? What's your take on this one?
Okay. Before I answer your question directly, I had a problem with it, but I liked how you phrased it because usinikeze the opportunity to be specific. You just threw a question and you said we should answer. Be specific, saying when you speak of education, what exactly do you mean? So, just to answer your question in short, Gisazo extender, of course, yes, education is still the key to success. In short, but can I expand manje or later?
Hayi awuyibambe kancane ngisafuna
Okay.
ukuzwa indoda enenkani lethe indoda
Okay.
Sibari nangu Mbali la uthi education is still the key to success. Uthi nje ushaya ngo yes omkhulu. Uthi it is still the key to success. Sibari ngenkani yakho wena uthini?
Education is partly still the key to success. I would say 50-50. I would give education 50 when it comes to the accumulation of success. Yeah, so I would say it's partly, not entirely, the key to success. That is my response.
Okay, so you're not saying yes and you're not saying no.
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle. Education is partly the key to success, and there's another 50% of success because, okay, let me just leave it there for now. Let me just leave it there.
Okay, wonderful. Whoever, if you feel like maybe you want to add something, now show something, please guys, feel free to write in the comments. I mean, I just read the comments out and then we're going to discuss. This is not about us as panelists now on the screen, but also now who are as a viewers, you are allowed to partake on this one, guys. So feel free. Mbali,
No, bengithi uzuziwe uthi please add me. I think
I just now Ukjela the same thing. She's requesting.
Yeah, no, I'm still ilibiti connection failed, but I'm still trying. So Mbali, you wanted to explain why uti yes. I also why uti education is still the key to success.
Okay. Ngokwami ngokambali yenkosi, there are different types of education. When we speak of education, we don't necessarily speak about the four walls of university. Knowledge via any platform to me is education. Iy'khathi ziyashintsha bhuti wami. Dala mhlampe in the 1912, 1920s, 1930s, an educated person was regarded as umuntu oyile enyuvesi. Noma ngabe ufunde part-time or full-time, it doesn't matter, but umuntu graduated, that has a degree, a diploma, or a master's, anything, was regarded as educated. But, as time progresses, ngokwami, I feel the concept of education has evolved over the years. Noma ngabe usuya ngokwami, yes, you are regarded as an educated person, noma ngabe you've never set foot in your vest. Because esikhathini samanje there's so many knowledge uyakwazi ukuyigaina ezokuphilisa, mind you, not just any knowledge, but knowledge uzokwazi uphile ngayo kube iyona nto that determines the success. Uyifunde uhlele ekhaya, uno-matric kuphela noma futhi ungenawo at some point. Ngizokwenzela isibonelo nje bhuti wami. Something that a lot of people, not a lot, but most people are turning into is forex trading. You don't need to go to UKZN to be a forex trader. But baningi abantu esibaziyo abanye personally that are forex traders, and ngiyabona ke laba abaskemayo, yes, but there are genuine people who are in the industry who are doing so well, abangakaze baze baye esikoleni noma bayile kodwa bangayisebenzisi le degree abayithola in the relevant institutions that they went to. Ukuthi nje they had to be patient, sit down and learn the skill of trading. Sebephila ngalokho. For me, that person is educated in the field of forex. Yiko ngithe mina kuwena bhuti wami, when you gave us the question of is education, you were not specific at telling what type of education. The traditional type of education of ukuthi ngifunde e-DUT, ngifunde eMangosuthu, or any type of education. Ngase ngibona ukuthi ke let me just take the opportunity to really go about this thing in two ways: the traditional approach and the modern approach to education.
Yeah.
Traditionally, there are some degrees, there are some qualifications or careers that you have to have a qualification. Yeah. For example, medicine and law. Angeke uze sithi uMbali Nkosi is a lawyer and I've never set foot in law school. You see, I had to personally go to UKZN and study law to be where I am. But therefore, in order for me to thrive, I had to have that particular degree. I had to go to a university. I had to go to a certain institution. Unlike a forex trader, unlike a YouTuber, because even people on YouTube, they actually need to learn the skill of editing videos so that the content yabo ibe good, ibafakele imali. So when I looked at this topic, I'm like, education has evolved over the years to be something that it was not in the 1930s. But also, arguably, I can argue even the modern day approach, not the modern day, the traditional approach of university of practically going to an institution is still important, because even the people that drop out of universities, is a millionaire today, but they are a university dropout. They need graduates to help them run their business. The success of their business is determined by graduates, although bona they might have had a business idea, but the application of their business idea was not going to be as successful if there was not the minds that were behind the business concept. I have a friend, we went to university together and she studied law, right? Akayisebenzisa degree yakhe practically njengami, like going to court and appearing on behalf of clients. But wasuka wavele waqhubeka neplazi lakubo, waqhubeka walima, and umuntu osupply local stores such as Spar no Shoprite of izinto ayitshalile. Khathi sancane la business lakhe, she didn't really need much of umthetho. But as the business grew, she had to sign contracts and interpret contracts. Akade wasayina no Pick and Pay, no Shoprite, She doesn't have to hire an attorney because she studied law. She can interpret contracts. So when I usually get the opportunity to speak to students, abasafunda matric, I usually tell them to not throw away the towel. Go to university because it might give you the opportunity to open your mind. Yebo ungagcina ungasebenzi kulento oyifundele, but to network with different people might help you to develop something in the future. And also, economy because we have so many graduates abahlele ekhaya abasebenzi, and lento ishu ngakhuli komnotho wethu because our economy has not grown to the extent to which it can create imisebenzi in accordance to the number of graduates that we have. It's very easy for someone to actually start a business ngedegree yabo noma bengakaze basebenza. You just need to be creative. So lento yokuvuleka komqondo and creativity, ungazilimit to a specific field. Kuphela ekutheni mina ngaphuma ekhaya ngoba ngifuna ukuba pharmacist and that's what I'll be. Iyona nto ebuyishaye njengabantu abasha ukuthi singavuleki ngokomqondo ukuthi but I can use my certain degree to start a business ngiziqashe mina instead of waiting for umuntu othile ukuthi angiphe umsebenzi. An example, abantu abanama-B.Ed degrees, ngiyazi ukuthi awusatholakala umsebenzi kakhulu ka-teaching manje. People can start tutoring tutoring groups, baqale kancane kancane igcine isibankulu, babe ama-tutors, right? Omunye umuntu might argue njengobhuti mhlampe athi, but anyone can tutor if you know a specific subject. If you're good at maths, you can just say, no, I don't necessarily need to go to university to study teaching in order to open a business, look tutarish. However, we need to understand ukuthi umuntu who has a B.Ed degree did not just study how to teach. They studied the philosophy behind teaching. They studied the psychology of children's minds. which will set you apart in your business if initially you had a BA degree. Asikwazi ukuthi imfundo is irrelevant. That's my standpoint. Noma ngabe kungathiwa we are encouraging young people based on economy yethu ukuthi abaqale babona bayithuthukise bona and start businesses. They need content abayifunde e-university to help them, to distinguish them, so that whatever product they have to sell to us, kubelula ukuthi ithenge ngoba siyazi ukuthi they actually studied what they are doing. So for me, education will remain, the traditional approach to education will remain, also the modern approach njengoba sengichazile ngezinto zo-forex ukuthi i-skill siyafundwa noma engabe siphi. Akekho umuntu engimaziyo mina owazalwe i-forex trade ukuthi nje ngakwamukela, ngakwamukela enkosini. It's impossible. You learn a skill, whether through Facebook or through people. Abantu, they mentor each other. So education remains vital. That's my stance.
Hey, Sibara, uthini manje Sibara? Hayi nange kushaya iqoba la umbali.
I think for us not to digress too much and end up, being confused exactly what it is that we are trying to get to here. First, I think it's important to see we must come up with a true definition of what success is. You understand? And then secondly, we must be able to identify what type of education are we talking about here. You understand? Because like Usise mentioned, there's ways of education. It's a complex thing to talk about. You can't just say education and only mention varsity and all that stuff. You also need to mention some things we learn on the streets. That's education. You understand? So for me, the reason why I'm saying partly, I'm gonna specifically talk about the education system from primary education to tertiary education. Asikhulume nge-impact leyo education idlalayo ekukhuleni komuntu until lo muntu azathi ngiqedile varsity. What's next? The biggest problem we have in Africa, in South Africa, let me talk about South Africa. Our education system, the curriculum keeps on, that's why I'm saying 50% I agree education is the key. But now, the curriculums that they keep on bringing to the people are the curriculums that weaken the mind of a human being.
Yeah.
Why do I say that? Why do I say this? Let me go back a little bit. 2011. I've never told you about this, but 2011, I enrolled a UNISA for horticulture. It's one of the. It's a course. It's like doing agriculture, but it's horticulture. It deals with something else, specifically the parks and stuff. So I enrolled and I started the semester, and then the word came that for me to do that course, it's compulsory that I do. There were 2 modules that I had to do. There were 2 modules that I had to do that were compulsory. These modules were, if I remember correctly, there was MNG 1502 and MNG 16 something. We MNG 1502 with designing parks and stuff like that. And then they tell me that I need to do these courses. MNG 1502, there's a chapter that talks about bureaucracy. I'm sure Sisi will know what bureaucracy is, and what do they talk about when they. So bureaucracy is the law that is the law that teaches people who are in positions how they should enforce, or how they should force people professionally to do their jobs. For somebody like me, I'm like, but I did not enroll here for an HR position. I enrolled here for agriculture. So why am I doing this course? That is one of the biggest problems that we have with the structure of our education, is that you end up you will end up deviating from what it is exactly that you're looking for. When I go to a welding school, okay, later on I ended up going for welding and boiler making and stuff like that. When you go to a welding school, you learn how to weld because that's what you're there for. You see, in places of work, this is where education, you see, the development of somebody from being a baby, being taught certain things, it creates, it's going to give them that, I don't know what to call it, but it gives them that stereotype that when you're educated, in workplaces, we've got a problem of people who do not know their positions or in their professions because of such things, that you go to varsity to learn something and then you end up doing something that completely has nothing to do with what you are trying to, where you are trying to get. You understand? So that is my problem with the system of education, the structure of education that is being used in South Africa. Now, let us talk about success. You see, when you invest into something and it shows you fruits, that is success. That is how success works. You must invest, whether you invest energy, whether you invest money, but you must get a profit out of that investment. So now let's go back to Nxewu Sisi about umuntu that starts a business and end up having to hire graduates. Do you understand that if Lomuntu did not create that opportunity, the graduates wouldn't have a job? And I like the fact that she touched on the fact that what was this? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting, but ngiyathanda ukuthi siyibuke kulelo side le nto ukuthi okay, lo muntu uyiqalele ibhizinesi. If angayiqalanga le business le, lo muntu ograduateile ubezokwenza njani? So this is what I wanted to talk about. She said abantu, they need to diversify. Do not just say just because I'm a lawyer I cannot think outside of the box. I'm gonna think inside the box of being a lawyer. Let me diversify. Let me find other avenues that I can make money. That is the most important thing, money. As far as success goes, it's money. So this is another problem that hinders the success of young black people in South Africa, is that educated and their brains are constantly there that I want to be a lawyer. If you don't get a law firm, it's a problem. You will never work. You understand? Because you simply want to be a lawyer. You know, it goes so bad that they don't even see the opportunities in their communities. When somebody's going through something that needs a law expert, they won't look at that person because their brain is at the point where they are a lawyer that is getting paid for being a lawyer at a level where they have to get paid.
Yes.
So diversification is very important. Diversify, look for other avenues. So in that way, success is being blocked now because you are thinking like a lawyer. You are thinking like I'm sorry for using lawyer too much. Like we've got a lawyer in the building, so I'm gonna use lawyer. But what I'm trying to say is there's two things that we need to look at.
Yeah.
The type of education that we are talking about, of which I believe is the primary to varsity, and then the type the true definition of success. Because even if we look at the person that is hiring a graduate, the person who's hiring a graduate is going to have more money if we were to define success with money. The person who hires a graduate is going to have more money. So who's more successful there? And then how do you then go against the opinion of somebody who's saying education is not the key? Because the one who's got the biggest key that opens all the doors, because what the graduate does in the company of somebody that does not have any qualifications, they are working within the constraints of that company. Their jurisdiction ends within that company. But the person that is running the company that hired the graduate can reach anywhere. The person that hired the graduate owns the graduate. So who's successful there?
Yeah.
So it's not me being this guy on Nkani. It's just we need to look at these things. I'm not denying education has an element of success, and most likely when there's a competition that needs you to think, most likely the person that has gone to varsity is going to have an upper hand at some point.
Yeah.
Because their mind has been trained, like usisi bekhuluma philosophy. In the end, you need to do what you call I forget this thing that you need to do when you've done your course, but that person is trained mentally. They are ready. For you, when you're in a competition with somebody who's educated, you are ready, but not as ready as that person, because that person, there are things that are going to come along the way and they're going to answer back to them like this. We cannot deny that. We cannot floor education like that, but we cannot give education everything.
Yeah.
Okay. No, Smart. Guys, can I just go through to our comments because ngiyabona ukuthi ziyaphenduka la ama comments. Justice uthi Justice Sokela uthi the education curriculum and its system isn't designed to give economic solutions to the future generations, but it serves past political objectives which are irrelevant to current markets. All right. And then Uzuziwe, guys, I'm still trying to add still akuvumi. Uthi education is not the key to success. Azi ngezuzi usho ngalithi ngoba phela wena ugraduate. Uthi why do I say so? Okay, why do I say it's no longer the key to success? It's firmly because nowadays almost everything depends on one's capacity to think and how he or she uses his talent. However, education gets your respect from people, no society. It's either the society or respect that. Which angiboni kahle ngoba ama-background ama-desk ami la ayashaya, so okay.
Or respect it will give you, that will make you.
Okay, however, education gets respect from people, no society. It's neither the society or respect that it will give you that will make you. Okay, all right. And then moreover, it's your own will and determination. Both these does not require formal education to be successful, but it's self-education, all right? Furthermore, education does not guarantee you that you'll be successful, though it's taken as a social obligation. Hey, I want to do so much. Lastly, follow your passion in life, and education will only limit your avenues. Hey, thanks. I'm going to give me a comment. Uze sothatha lama-comment awu-2 khulume phezu kwawo. Mbali uthini kulokho kushiwo justice lokhu uyamthekisa lokhuza uzuziwe uthi education is not a key to success. Only determination and using your talent, using your skills, being who you are, that can make you successful without even having education. Education only gives you something you want to empowerment back respect noma waze ukuthi okay wena umuntu ofundile. So what do you guys say on what Uzuziwe is saying?
Okay. I was just rereading her comment again, but yeah, phone. Usisi ukhuluma about talent or a skill, which is something I touched on at the beginning of inkulumo yami. Ngathi mina in modern day very outing there's no need for you to go to school if you so want to. You can use the traditional approach or the modern approach, but in using that modern approach, which is the leso skill or leso talent, you're gonna at some point you're gonna have to sharpen it. I still stand my point. A skill needs to be sharpened, especially when uzophila ngaso nje. Abantu abaculayo, they don't just wake up and sing. You know, they have vocal classes, vocal coaching classes, indaba zokubamba umoya, you know, stage performance, which needs to be sharpened ngokuhamba kwesikhathi. Yabona. So yebo singasho ukuthi you determined njengoba echaze ikhuluma nge-determination. But if you are not redirected or directed rather, isikele sakho singekho singaqoqekile kahle, uzoba determined impela kodwa you're not going to, and I don't think there's going to be much success to your talent, as no matter how determined you may be ngento oyenzayo, because usuke ungacoachwanga ngendlela, you know, wafundiswa in order, etc. So one way or the other, sibuye sivumelane sonke though sibuye sihlukane to some extent. Ngiyamuzwa usizwe ukuthi futhi ngiyavumelana naye. Hence I had to make sure ukuthi eqaleni kwenkulumo yami ngihlukanisa into two, ukuthi there's modern approach, there's traditional approach to everything. So yebo sisi, it's your own will and determination, and both these does not require formal education to be successful, but self-education. Uyabona ukuthi uvumelana nami, it might not be formal, but it's a certain level of education ngoba khonto efundile. That's my point. That's where I stand. I mean, yeah.
Wow, one. Smart. Awuthi nawe xa nje kafishane. Uthi nangu ukulokhuza uzuzu uyahlaba ehlekisa leso education is not a key to success.
No, you know, that's why for me, we've got people that are successful because of education. We've got doctors, we've got, you can't just become a doctor unless uzoba inyanga lapha abantu traditionally.
Anyway, by the way, inyanga butwami phansi kwamanzi bayaphansi kwamanzi. I'm not sure bayazi. Initiation school is education to some extent.
So yes. So at the end of the day, you know, there are parts of education that cannot be flawed.
Yes.
They are just there, you know. I mean, we all know Obaba bebena businesses. School. Bengafundanga ndawo. They had istolo nje, just istolo, and leso stolo sathatha abantwana sabayise varsity. They became doctors, they became accountants. And then laba accountants, you know what they did? they came back and they rebuilt, they refurbished the businesses. They made sure the businesses grow. They made the businesses evolve from what they were back then to something else. We know the stories of those people. So at the end of the day, you look at it like, okay, lo baba lo indlela aqale ngayo is not the way it is manje. It's not the same as the way it was. Yabo. So ngobani uthi umntwana wathi hamba, go and acquire this information, this knowledge, and then come back, apply it here. Yabo. So Mina, what I'm trying to say is that, okay, we as Black people have suffered so much in the name of education. People are going through depression. Currently, there's a story that's doing the rounds on my socials, of this Nzimande guy that's in Sentin, in the streets of Sentin, utonzingola lapa, the guy is got, I think he's got honors, he's approaching his masters or whichever comes first. So he's still studying. He's not working, and uhlale emgaqweni. Do you understand? I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't think for himself on how to make a way for him to leave. He ended up being on social media to look for somebody to help him. And this is another point that I wanted to touch on. The types of course that we are taking are problematic as well.
Yes.
The types, I know more than 5 people abenze public administration. Like, come on guys, what is public administration? What is office administration? You go and you say you're doing a diploma. Umuntu akutshela athi wenza diploma, wenza office admin, wenza public admin. What is that? Because you've got public relations, you've got what it's PR and then it's what HR. You've got those things. If you've got, then tell me ukuthi umuntu akadlali ngawo mezokutshela ukuthi wenze office admin. Uhambe for full 2 years, 3 years, uthi wenze diploma ye public administration office. What is that? What is that? Why didn't you just go and do PR once? So and also the curriculum. I saw the point here that the curriculum is not helping people to grow economically. I think it was something like that. It's very important that
which is not relevant in this current market.
So now the curriculum, that's what I'm saying. The curriculum is actually declining the human functioning. The functioning of the brain of the human being in South Africa, it's declining it. It is forcing it to decline. There's no, we spoke about this before. The leaders that we have, you have somebody that says, you are ready for a 4th industrial revolution in a country where people are told ukuthi 30% you want to pass umetric and you are ready for the 4th industrial revolution. How does that work? Let us correlate that and let us work around that and see if it works. Is it a workable situation? It is not. But we keep on entertaining education is the key to success and entirely education. We need to redefine education. We need to I don't know if I must say franchise from whatever we have succumbed to and start afresh. Redefine it and see like and look at new directions. Otherwise, I'm telling you, education, if it was this life science, I would say education is an endangered species.
Yo.
It's endangered. It's
Eh,
endangered.
eh, let me carry on with some Amalokun. Who creates realities? I always struggle with the concept of elective university. I went there with an interest in politics and international relations. All that other stuff. Why? The structure is ridiculous. And then my second point, from primary to tertiary, there is a mentally we were given that after we graduate, all will be well. Then most graduate and then there are no jobs, and then they feel stuck. They still stuck creativity. They can't think beyond or imagine. That is poverty. And then Patrick, education is not the key to success, but to that,
education is not the key to success, but the acquisition of knowledge, which in turn is the key to success.
Yes.
You know, for me, ngicela nje ukuyiphendula le real quick.
Yeah.
You do not only get knowledge from school. Lento sinosisi sesiyiphinde kaningi in many ways. You do not only get knowledge from school.
Yeah.
There's knowledge everywhere. Yeah, so okay,
Mina ukuthi I love the fact ukuthi you said this is not a debate, ne? So siyakhuluma nje about what we I mean, although I've seen education not working for some people, I'm going to be honest. I've seen it working for some people. The thing about it, ne, is that it has a tendency to box everyone in, and you are considered, hey, but you are considered more intelligent. You are able to remember something. So it's about memorizing. It's about testing your memory, not your intelligence.
Okay.
Because I believe there's a difference between the two. It's a matter of then you're considered better than a student ongakhumbulanga. So the level of testing can also be problematic. Ngoba sithatha different students abangafani, abaney'dingo ey'ngafani, abaney'ngqondo ey'ngafani, sibatesta ngendlela eyodwa.
Yeah.
Masekmakwa laphayana ukuthi how good are you able to memorize this? Bese ngabe you are able to memorize it ngendlela mina njengothisha engisatisfied ngakhona, then you are ready for the next class. Uyabona? So it's like sithatha zonke iy'lwane siyifake emanzini, even iy'lwane that are not designed to survive on water. Does that make any sense? Uyabona? So it's like, I mean, there's certain animals that are able to just live emanzini, njengofish, njengeselesele. Angeke sikwazi ukuthi sithi a lion is weak just because it cannot survive in water. Take the lion and put it on land, you'll see it surviving there. Take the same fish or semanzini and put it on land, it will die. So we can't test the two different animals the same way and expect the same results. Education has a flaw in that sense. Ukuthi ingane ize ingafani, ingqondo ayifani, i-testa the same way, which is, can you remember? So leyo kungabi downfall yayo, but other than that, yona shame.
No, it worked. It works.
Yeah.
It works. You know, like I'm seeing the comment, education is definitely the key to success, but wait, don't be fooled by the system. You know, I've been mentioning, like I think I've mentioned this 3 times or so. Yeah. I keep on saying in South Africa. Do you understand? And justice don't be fooled by the system. Already the system is fooling us. Already the results of the system that is fooling us, we are seeing them. So you cannot say don't be fooled by the system. You see, I always argue with people. I've got I always have a problem with people who have got criticism, who are able to identify problems, who are able to say, no, this is like this, but they can't give you solutions. What we need in South Africa is a solution. And the solution is to change the system. So I'm against into Putumaeti, don't be fooled by the system, because the results of that system are what we are living. So don't be fooled. We mustn't be fooled by it. We are already fooled by the system. We are living the results, and also, I heard something. I don't know how true this is, but if it's true, I think we should look into those things. I think that is why our success as Africans has been delayed so much. In Japan, I heard Uguti from grade 1 to grade 3, from grade R or whatever to grade 3, the child is not learning mathematics. The child is not learning, things like language or whatever subject. The child is being put under the curriculum that trains them on focus, because once they focus, you are able to identify what it is that they are capable in or at. I like the fact that usisumenshine lento yokuthi it's like ukuthatha ilwane uyifake emanzini zonke, because once they do that, by the time this child gets to grade 4, they focus exactly on what they are capable of. They focus on their capabilities. That is how we feel. That is how we deal with these things. We need to, because at the end of the day, we can have this conversation, but we need to come up with solutions. What are the solutions? Because we need solutions. The fact that we are sitting here having a conversation about education because education is supposed to be the key to success. Truthfully, we're not supposed to even have this conversation whether it is or not. Because I can tell you now, if you go to a spaceship, you've got a chemical engineer, and then you've got a mechanical engineer. These people together, they put up a spaceship and they make a spaceship, they make it work. So if these people did not focus on their specific capabilities, it was not going to happen. Yeah. So what we need is focus and make sure that people are in the places where they belong. That is my take.
Ngicela ukuthi disclaimer nje bhuti wami, ifoni yami might just switch off, but ngiyi-process yokuzama i-charger, so mhlampe ngizonyamalala but ngizobuye ngibuye.
Okay, no problem. Brian, on what you just said in your mind, I'm talking what we were talking about, but I think we were having Ubo lunch. I told him exactly what you just said now. The only way that can help us South Africans, because my take on education was that education seems to delay us like South Africa. It's a system like South Africa. I'm not saying education as a whole, but I'm talking about the system like South Africa. It delays us. And when you look at other countries, not like Africa, but the other countries, we are told Sibanama lawyers, I know 21 years, umuntu already say lawyer. Umuntu udokotela but una 23 years. When you come like South Africa, the 12 years is schooling, and then another 7 years ufundela ubudokotela, and then come another 4 or 5 years when the internship. by the time usuthola umsebenzi usuqala usunempunga. Yabo. When you go to yabo like China, ise China la lento sikhuluma ngiyazela eChina mina ngisengabuka ingilokhuza ku-enye video on YouTube. Ingane ithingane na 5 years zibekwa kwi-field, and kule field le kunawo wonke inhlobo yamathuluzi, and then ingane iqala ibuka isencane ukuthi yini ethanda ukudlala ngayo kakhulu. Manje ukuthi ithanda ukudlala ngebhamu kancane yona, ezinye zize ithatha isibhamu okay, no, let us train him or her ukuthi ayobe isosha. We can have a very good protection as a nation if we can have ingane. And then ithatha ingane isencane from lento edlala ngayo kakhulu, mase iyatrainwa ikhule nayo leyo nto. Makutholakala ingane encane ibhizi idlala nonodoli ilibe iphethe lezi zinto zakhona zodokotela ukuthi okay lozo budokotela ithathe training ngane ibe udokotela. Akho ma-LO, akho SSEMS, akho what ufundisa specifically lento lo ubonakala ukuthi ne-passion kuyona noma ubhuti kuyona. Yabo. So that is why eChina you will find an engineer under 18 and 19 years. Now South Africa 18, 19 years usafeyila lapha elokhuzeni. But on other 18 already umuntu sekwazi ukukhanda imoto, ukwazi ukuhlangisa imoto, amaphathi emoto wonke imoto izithele. But in South Africa usakhitha ka grade 12 usafeyila grade 12. Yabo. So isisimo la South Africa first it delays us, and that leads ukuthi most yabantu bala South Africa bagcine bese education is not a key to success. Yabo. They just take it education as a whole. Then aside about whatever that you can learn, even that even whatever you learn from the street, that's education, because it gives you it gives you some knowledge. It's even that knowledge developed from something. But even the Bible says, my people are perishing because they lack knowledge.
Yes.
Because knowledge is power. Education is. Education is key to success. But the education system is break. I delaying us.
I say, yes. One guy was talking on Facebook. He wrote a whole post regarding Lendo Leoguti. Foreign nationals need to be deported and stuff like that. He's the same guy that talks about how Africa, the whole of Africa, is colonized. Yeah. I'm saying this because I'm looking at what Mfowethu Justice has just wrote. In the end, he says, Tina, we adopted whatever we saw easy to implement to the majority. So this guy, what he does, he talks about colony, we are still colonized and stuff like that. So which means we need to decolonize. Ne? The guy is a doctor. Ne? And then he goes on to talk about, they want to deport Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans they have good mathematics and physics teachers. Right there, I saw stupidity in him. Because a whole doctor is contradicting himself. You can't be a doctor and be using a Western system and not implementing your African ways of doing things, and then wanting people to be kept in this country just because they are good physics teachers and math teachers. The system that you want decolonized, you are still fighting for those people to stay here because they have to give benefits of that system of colonization.
Yeah,
you understand? He contradicted himself. So where do we start? We start by speaking the truth. The truth is our system of education in South Africa is a whole mess. Secondly, because Mina, like I said, I want solutions more than anything. Secondly, the administration. Who put justice in your face? Who just join? Maybe next time, God. ngiyambona uyafisa ukusijoyina. The the second thing, ukuthi the administration that we have in South Africa, first we have to deal with that. Yeah. We can cry all day and say this and say that. The administration has to change so that, because umuntu obheke ku-80 manje wazini ngale 14 eParliament umbuyiseni Dlozi, he completely embarrassed David Mabuza, because he asked him questions about the fourth industrial revolution. He came and he spoke about it. He was reading Manuel Beyiphethe eParliament as the vice president. And then he asked him, tell us about the relationship between the fourth industrial revolution and the nanotechnology. He didn't know what to say, because he doesn't know what the nanotechnology is. It was supposed to be a simple response. So at the end of the day, the people that are running the country, they do not know what it is that we need in this day and time. They knew they needed guns to shoot amabhunu. That's all they knew. We shoot asitubula amabhunu manje. That's why it's easy.
They were clueless.
Yeah, well, so not to say they were clueless on Asbar. That time required leaders like that, and a little bit of education just to, get by and be clued up. And then things they advance, they evolve from that point. We've got everything is around, it revolves around technology, and they do not know technology. They do not know the theory of technology. That's where it starts. Unfortunately, with technology, it's like that. You must know the theory first, and then you get to the implementation. So the system of education causes the decline in whatever we are trying to achieve as a country, as Black people, as whatever.
Wow. I guess we're in a reality. There's something she said. But another thing about these curriculum, they don't promote independent and critical thinking. There's a lot of memorizing and regurgitation. It's not adequately preparing people for life outside of these institutions. I also have a problem. It's how our education system has evolved from the apartheid regime. There is reality. What's your take on this one, Clark?
I completely agree with her, because it goes back to what we were talking about, China and Japan and stuff like that, and those kids. If there's one thing you can never do to a kid who grew up like that, being taught to focus on this skill, and this is your baby, you grow up with it, you can never tell them anything, because it goes back to lento le issues, critical and independent thinking. The education is a Mbali, we mentioned lento ukuthi sifunda just ukuthi siyadlula, ukuthi ngimzwile uThobani, this is what is said to me, and if ngifike testini I write exactly that. I must remember what he said. Critical thinking goes beyond that. Critical thinking goes beyond in such a way that right now, like me, njengomuntu onenkani, but how many things out of all the conversations that we've had, how many things have you seen engikhulume ngazo back then esezenzakalile? Yabo. And that does not require you to go to school. It requires you to think independently. And the system of education that we have should have that element of saying, okay, we've spoken about this. What would be your solution? okay, this is a method, is a mathematical solution, or this is a general solution that we have on this certain problem. This is at school. Okay, we've got this solution. What is your solution? We start there. Because once you have independent thinking, you think outside of the box. You think outside of whatever that space you in.
Yeah.
That is what education is supposed to promote. Unfortunately, it's not happening. Because at the end of the day, even universities, this is another flaw now. Because I know it happens in South Africa.
Yeah.
Ama-varsities, they get money ngokukhula kwenumber yabantwana e-university. Kunemali engenayo abasithola from the government ukuthi this is the number of students they have. So can you imagine, I think it's a Walter Sisulu University, kumanje kunengane bekufanele zigraduate, but ayigraduatanga because you know what they did kule university? They added ama-courses that ababengayitholanga i-compliance yawo, i-accreditation yawo. I'm sorry, babengayitholanga i-accreditation yokuthi bawafake kule university, and then bawafaka bona out of their own. Why? Because they wanted numbers. So once they get numbers, government uzobanikeza imali, a lot of money, and you know what happens with that. So so at the end of the day, kunengane manje ihleli ekufanele ngabe ziyagraduate in the coming 3 weeks or so, but maybe izohlala 3 months zilindile ukuthi bathole accreditation manje, because they have to get accreditation, otherwise kumele iboshwe phela i-varsity.
Yeah.
So do you understand how many problems do we have as a country when it comes to this issue of education? There's a lot of problems that we are having, and you know, Justice Ute, let me read this comment. The China's, Japan's, Hong Kong's, Korea, Singapore's of today were planned, created hundreds of years back based on a political philosophy, and objectives were drawn around that we adopted whatever we saw easy to implement to the majority. You see, one mistake we're gonna make is thinking that these things are not easy to implement. They are very easy to implement. They are very easy. You just need to, like manje kunengane ezongena ku grade R. Lezo ingane ziqala with a whole new curriculum. That's how it is. But manje, Tina, we've been conditioned ukuthi we're gonna look more at the problems than the solutions. The solutions are there and they are easy to implement, but we're gonna refuse because we think they're gonna be too hard to implement. No, it's just that easy.
Yeah. No, but ngiyakuzwa, and you are making a lot of sense. You are making a lot of sense because, you know, khona lento evijwayele kwenziwa ukuthi people, okay, like for instance, but lento le inakho kwenziwa emasontweni, and most of the places iyenziwa kakhulu ukuthi will okay, banibani ukuthi to share a word of wisdom. When you hear one church, business events, nomigate sharing the word of wisdom, but angifundile sibaba, but ngumuntu owazi ukucabanga norivulayo nokwazi ukubona, yabo. So according to my own knowledge, sibaba, when you speak about the word of wisdom, when you speak about the word of wisdom, you are speaking about, okay, so that is what a word of knowledge. Word of knowledge is where we are identifying problems, and the word of wisdom is where we come in with solutions. So every time I'm seeing people, let's see, they are sharing the word of knowledge. I mean, the word of wisdom. Meanwhile, they are identifying
It's the
problems,
word.
of which that is not wisdom.
Mhm.
Wisdom
So,
is to bring solutions,
yes. Okay,
problems that are identified.
after we've identified all the problems that we have, that's
Yes,
not where it ends.
exactly.
It doesn't end there, because this is what we have in even with the political system in South Africa. We've got, like,
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody on Saturday. So
Mm.
this guy, I'm yabo, we've got like abantu abanjengo Malema.
Unashayile manje Baruge. No, isikhathi anginakile isikhathi sambanje. Usakhona? I was also trying to add Mbali, and I think I will show you network because it's